Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm your friend InsXO, and today what I'm gonna do is to give you a few ideas about how Python could learn from Golang. Why? When I say this, you may probably think, well, I must be crazy to speak at this project or to speak out this topic on this such big event. Well, I'm not crazy. I'm just wanna give you some ideas that Python could do to make it better. Then you guys could somehow think a way to constantly improve the Python ecosystem. And I guess this is very important. If a programming language feels he's already the best programming language in this world, what kind of space he left for improving, right? So let's get started. What Python could learn from Golang? The first point is version control. Sometimes I always think that Python is kind of different than other programming languages. For example, if you ever used the programming language of C, this programming language, you would notice that even if you use a very, very old code, it's like, you have written it in the last century, then you could still compile it with the C99 standards. And for those programming languages, they have a feature called back compatibility. But as far as I know, Python doesn't have this. So sometimes you will use some code that was written in Python 2, and some other time you would use some package that was written by Python 3, and they are different things. You cannot use them at the same time. And if you are just talking about the Python 2 and Python 3, I would think, oh, that's okay, just two versions, right? But sometimes they will even make things more complicated. They'll say sometimes it's a software that only support Python 3.7, and other times it would only support Python 3.8, and sometimes even more complicated. They will ask you to use the Python 3.6. And when you think about all of those things, one thing just come in my mind. Oh, I have to manually download all those stuff to get started to use that piece of software. That was stupid. So why don't we just create a command line software called Python X, this guy, to automatically call different versions of Python to run our code? Why don't we do that? Well, all we have to do is to add this line of code into our code base, and that's all. Was that very complicated for you guys? No, it definitely not. And what you could do is to do a detect to say if our computer has that version of Python installed. If it doesn't, we download it and automatically install that kind of Python version to our computer. That's all. Why we have to do all those stupid things manually? That makes sense, right? Okay, that's the first point that I want to say. Another one is called strong type. Well, for many of you, you may know that Python is a dynamic programming language. It doesn't have a strong type supported. But here's the problem. Why we need a strong type? I know for now Python has some type support, but it's sometimes not that good as we may want. For Golang's autocomplete system and the type checking system, if you have such a thing, it will tremendously decrease the chance that you make mistakes. And also, when you make less mistakes, you do the development quicker. For example, for now, what I am doing is calling the balance package. It's a package for the Bitcoin trading. Here, it is a method to get a tickets information. But here it is where the problem comes from. For example, when I get that coins information, then I want to do a further process. I say result dot. You say what I got. I got nothing. There has no auto compilation out there. But if we switch to the Golang programming language, after we get one piece of information, then we hit the dots. You see what I got? The auto compilation. It points out all those properties that I could use and its type. So it will always makes me feel easy for the programming. And for this case, I won't make any mistakes. For example, I could just specify the type that I want the function to take, and also I could just specify the output of that function. And the IDE will automatically do that checking for me, so I don't have to worry about those things. And whenever I make a mistake, the compiler will immediately say that I made some mistakes, and then I could just fix it without any problem. You say this is the power of strong typing. And this is the second point that I want you guys to know. And the third point is cross-compile and run. Well, why this is important? With Python, in the most of the times, what we would do to distribute our software, well, we just simply send our source code out. Well, that was a stupid idea. When you are doing some open source stuff, it's okay to send your code out. But if you are doing some business developments, then it's definitely not a good idea to send your source code out, right? But with the Golang, you can always compile it to a binary file. Then your user could just run that binary file without any problem or any trouble. But with Python, you have to always ask your user to manually install a software called Python to be able to run your application. That's the complexity, guys. Not all those people know how to do the programming, and not all those users know how to run your software correctly. And then, as for Golang, it's just a programming language for cross-compile. So if you have one platform, you can compile your source code into binary file for all those different other platforms. So in this case, you are free, guys. You don't have to worry about those differences in different platforms. You don't have to manually handle those stuffs. But with Python, it's very hard to support all those platforms. But for most cases, we will just ignore the Windows user and focus on the Linux side. And as I think that narrows your view on the global side. Alright, basically that's what I want to say inside of this video. And you may think I am crazy, but I'm not. I'm just speaking out the truth, and I'm just wanna express my thoughts about the two programming language and how can they learn from each other. And I think only in this way the programming language could be able to get improved in the future, and only in that way that language could keep his healthy in a long term. Alright, guys, thanks for the watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.